In 2020, in Queens, New York, a 22-year-old tenant pushed his 71-year-old landlord down the stairs after they had an argument over unpaid rent. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have a little bit different of a video for you today, and it's going over this incident that happened in Queens, New York back in 2020. Now, the reason I'm going over this is because I wanted to show people some of the negative things that happen to landlords and kind of go over this story, tell you exactly what happened, what caused the incident to happen, what the tenant claimed originally happened in the situation, and what the disposition of the whole case was. This was a really bad situation because everything was captured on video between the landlord and the tenant, and that video, it went viral. Okay, it was caught by a Ring doorbell camera, I believe, or a Ring camera, and it's pretty graphic. So I am going to show the video, but I'm not going to show the whole thing with the landlord being injured and then later passing away, because that's just too graphic for YouTube. But I really thought this story was, it goes to show you that you always have to watch yourself, okay? Especially when you're dealing with such an emotional situation with a tenant as unpaid rent or eviction, okay? These things are very volatile situations, and sometimes you want to remove yourself from it because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get hurt. And so I always encourage everyone to follow the law. You know, if you have a tenant who's not paying rent, you need to post notice on their door or file the correct legal paperwork or whatever. But confronting the tenant, yelling at the tenant or whatever, it can be disastrous. It can be absolutely disastrous, especially when someone gets hot and angry. And I don't want to have to write or read another story about a landlord who unfortunately passed away during a situation like this one right here. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. So what do you think of me covering more of these unfortunate stories where landlords were hurt or injured or lost their lives, during a confrontation with tenants? I was thinking about doing a video like this maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks to kind of break things up from my normal, anti-rent control, anti-eviction protection type stories, just to give you an example of some of the bad situations that landlords could possibly go through. Okay. So anyway, let's get into this story. I got two articles here, and the first one is going over the case, what was reported on this case initially, which a lot has changed, after the trial and everything went through. But let me get started with this one. This one is coming from ABC7 NewYork.com, and it says NYPD Queens tenant is accused of killing landlord, claimed he hit him with a mattress. Yeah, so the tenant initially made up a story to make it, look like, hey, this was just an accident, but it was not. So anyway, let's get into the article. The tenant in Queens, accused of killing his landlord by pushing him down a staircase, appeared in court Tuesday as details continued to emerge about the case. Police say 22-year-old Alex Garces pushed 71-year-old Edgar Moncayo down the front stairs of his building on 102nd Street in Corona just after 2 p.m. Saturday during a dispute over unpaid rent. Ring video caught the encounter on camera, with Moncayo found at the bottom of a staircase, unconscious and bleeding from the head. And they have the video here in the article, and I'm going to play that video for you right now.
Alex Garces, the victim's 22-year-old tenant, was charged today with manslaughter, but has insisted it was an accident, that he was moving a mattress through the front door and mistakenly knocked the victim over. But the doorbell camera tells a different story. Prosecutors say Mr. Moncayo is shoved backwards down the stairs with such force that his head is shattered on the sidewalk. He would die hours later from a traumatic brain injury.
All right, you saw that video. That is shocking. If you hadn't seen that before, I saw it a few years ago when this incident initially happened, and it was unbelievable. It was absolutely crazy. But what's even crazier is this guy. He denied anything happened. I guess he didn't know that he was being recorded by this Ring camera, and fortunately, that camera was there, or there might not have been justice served in this case. So it says in court, it was revealed that Garces initially told police he was moving a mattress and accidentally knocked the landlord down the stairs. So yeah, he lied to police. He didn't want to take responsibility for what happened, and the truth is on camera. Okay, so this is something that I strongly believe in. I believe in recording situations. I'm glad that police wear body cameras now, because a lot of the times the people they were dealing with were lying. And if you are a homeowner, I do suggest, yeah, you get security cameras at your house, because you never know what exactly is going to happen, and these cameras very well could protect you. So this was a bad situation that happened. So let me go over the other article I have, because it actually goes into what happened with this case. Okay. So this article is coming from the AstoriaPost.com, and it says Corona man gets 3 years in prison for fatally shoving landlord down the stairs. Yeah, so even though to me this looked like a clear cut case of murder, he only got 3 years. But I mean, it is justice. Justice was served, but it just seems like this man lost his life because of this tenant here, and it just doesn't seem like the sentence was enough. A Corona man was sentenced to 3 years in prison Wednesday for fatally shoving his elderly landlord down a flight of stairs last year. Alex Garces, 23, pushed 71-year-old Edgar Moncayo down the front steps of his Corona home on January 12th of 2020, following an argument over unpaid rent. The altercation was caught on video. The force of the push sent Moncayo flying down the full flight of stairs onto the sidewalk in front of the 102nd Street home. He can be seen landing on his head and laying still on the sidewalk before the video ends. Moncayo was rushed to Elmhurst Hospital and died the following day. Garces had initially claimed that Moncayo accidentally fell, but police were able to review the incident that was caught on tape. He was indicted on charges of first and second degree manslaughter and second degree assault in February of 2022, and at the time faced up to 25 years in prison if convicted. However, Garces took a plea deal in May, according to the New York Post. He pleaded guilty to one count of second degree assault in exchange for a lighter sentence. So, yeah, this guy, this tenant, he killed this man, and all he got was a conviction for second degree assault. Okay? Can you believe that? 3 years in prison and a second degree assault conviction? Now, give me a break. I mean, to me, this plea deal was garbage. It was absolute garbage. He was caught red-handed on video, and it wasn't enough. To me, they should have they should have just threw the book at this guy. At least got him a manslaughter conviction. He should be doing at least 10 years in prison. But he'll be out, and when this happened, he was 22 years old. He'll be out by the time he's 25, possibly able to hurt someone else, still committing crimes, and you can't bring this gentleman back. You can't bring this landlord back from the dead. Okay? This is a horrible type of situation. I mean, at least he was convicted, but it just doesn't seem right that all he got was an assault conviction when this guy died. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that can happen in landlord tenant disputes. One thing that I didn't mention before, and it was mentioned in one of these articles, was that the landlord actually lived in the same building as the tenant. So I believe the landlord lived in the basement apartment, whereas the tenant lived upstairs above, right? So this guy, lived right there with the tenant. I mean, this can just be a bad situation overall. I used to do that. I used to live in a fourplex that I owned, right? And they call it house hacking. I mean, I don't know if this guy he knew that, but think about all of the negative situations you can have if your tenant doesn't pay you rent and the tenant knows where you live, the tenant can mess with you, etc. That's why a lot of people don't want to do this sort of thing, because these type of dangerous situations, they are possible. And so I thought I'd bring this story up. I'm glad that this guy was at least convicted, but man, this is just a bad worst case scenario altogether.